Law and Ethics with Professor Kaiser and Ethical Issues in Education. The first issue right here is acceptable use of technology. One thing to key on right here is you never want to friend a student on social media, okay? When you post something on social media, if you have a Facebook account or Twitter, etc., when you post something, just remember that it never comes back. Okay, when you send it, you can't ever take it back. Somebody's always recording, somebody's always watching. And pictures, when you put pictures on the internet, they always cause problems. That's been the main objective of our problems in school this year anyway. By the way, I forgot to introduce, these are my stakeholders in front of me right here, teachers at Weaver High School. Alright, ethical social networking by educators. Alabama was ranked #1 in the country with sexual relationships between teachers and students. And it says through data, most of them begin through social media. Okay. There are, however, some positives with using social media with kids. One of the positives is you can communicate with other teachers. We can all communicate with each other. Ball games, especially if you're a coach or something like that, they're a good way to communicate with other teachers about collaborating with assignments, lesson plans, etc., stuff like that. So there are positives from using social media. You just have to remember how to do it. Negatives. All right, I believe there's more negatives than positives, but the negatives, they can be inappropriate, okay? Like I said, when you post something, it never comes back. You may have inappropriate stuff on your Facebook or Instagram account or something like that that may come up with students see. Or if you're friends with a kid and they have something inappropriate, you're liable if you see something. And we believe that teachers need more training. This is something me and my classmates came with. We need more training with using social media in class. That we shouldn't be just thrown to the wolves and saying, hey, use social media or don't. And if you're going to use it, then you should receive training prior to the year starts before you use it in class. And they can lead to eventual jail time if you misuse it extremely. Areas of concentration when using social networking, what they call it. You have psychological problems and teacher-student relationships. Like I said, we covered that. Here's a quote by Hickman. Inappropriate behavior is something which students are comfortable in. In other words, it should not cause discomfort for the students and risk negatively affecting the learning environment. So if you're going to use social media, make sure it is a positive environment for the students and never negative. Teachers we're encouraged never to post our opinions on social media also. There's a situation, one of the things that we're covering here is cheating on standardized tests. There was a situation in Atlanta a few years back where, there was 34 teachers and one administrator that was put in jail for a scam in 2013, where teachers were forced to change test scores to raise standardized test scores. We figured out one of the things that's caused this is they're receiving pressure from outside sources. When you get pressure to increase test scores, you come across a risk of teachers wanting to cheat more, and administrators obviously. And these administrators were giving perks to the teachers that were cheating for them. That was one of the things that they thought happened, and these people went to jail. So they got in bad trouble. And this is the group right here. It's the infamous case of cheating in Atlanta, Georgia. Educator must have integrity. When you're an educator, you got to remember that you have to have character and integrity because everybody's watching all the time, 24 hours a day. You never know when you're going to be looked at, even if you do something outside of school. Especially in today's age with cameras and social media, they're going to record it and they're going to bring it back to you. And we are looked upon as role models more than anybody else in the whole world, probably more than the president. If we do something wrong, teachers, you're going to get fallback from it immediately because everybody knows. So that's one of the things about teachers having integrity. You have to think about. When you put all this together and you get into education, you want to provide for a less test-centered environment. And this means you want your classroom to be more student-centered and less test-centered. If you're test-centered, that means you're focusing on just raising standardized test scores and et cetera. You want your students to learn the standards and understand what you're teaching. So if you have a less test-centered environment, you're not going to have these problems where your administrative teachers are trying to cheat, and you have all this trouble starting. So that's what we're trying to get to, where we have a more student-centered environment, and it'll take away from most of these problems right here that we've been discussing. One tactic for this that we figured out is to make cheating not easy. When you make it easy to cheat, students are going to cheat, and they're going to cheat on the test. So if you make cheating hard, this is something you can do to do that. Something we do is ICU. In this school, Weaver High School, we use ICU to kind of back up that work to where we make sure students are learning standards and not just getting to where they're doing better on the test. So that's how we do that. Little food for thought that we figured out here in the end of our presentation. Donald T. Campbell, a social scientist, wrote in the 1970s, the more any quantitative social indicators used for social decision making, the more subject it will be to corruption pressures, and the more apt it will be to distort the corrupt social process it was intended to monitor. In other words, the more important the test, the scores become, the more likely it is the test scores will be corrupted. So the more important you make these tests, the more likely you are to have issues. And here are my resources and references. It's a whole bunch of them. Thank you.